Huh, what's up, dudes and dudettes? Happy Shark Week! Today, Daniel and Raph are diving deep into the movie archives to take a bite out of a gnarly classic. So, hang tight, cause you're watching Cridiculous!
Hey everybody, this is Raph.
And Daniel.
And we want to welcome you to our second installment of Cridiculous. Real quick, we got to give a shout out to all of our new followers and fans that have been following us for the past few days, right?
Yeah, thank you for all subscribers and people that have brought our views up.
Now, folks, for those of you just joining us, we are right in the middle of Shark Week. And in honor of Shark Week, I thought we ought to do a shark movie. And this one is the ultimate classic. It is the granddaddy of all the shark movies out there. We are talking about Steven Spielberg's 1975 movie, Jaws.
This movie tells the story of a community forced to deal with chaos on the water as a killer shark terrorizes beachgoers. A police chief and a strange captain and a marine biologist hunt this man-eater down in what becomes a fight for their lives.
As a kid, were you not terrified? Like anytime you got in the water and you hear...
Dun, dun.
Right, exactly.
Dun, dun. I'm still scared. I still got, like, in my mind, I'm fantasizing about a shark coming up and,
You're
like, biting me whenever I'm getting out. That's... In a pool, you know, you're scared.
Fun stuff that you learned during Shark Week. Did you know that a shark had two Peters, two Johnsons, two thingamabobbers? What did Kevin Hart call it?
A tallymackle. She had... It's a dick.
I just want to move on from this part.
Why are we talking about this?
You keep bringing it up.
I didn't bring it up.
You brought Peter and Johnson and Kevin Hart's rendition of what a penis is supposed to sound like. So moving on to what this movie actually is, it jumps right into the man-eater and the suspense and everything. Woman swims out, and honestly, before I had watched this movie today, I realized that there's nudity in the film that I had not known about. It showed it, and I was kind of shocked because I'd never seen it because I always watched it on AMC or anything.
What keep in mind too is that, like, as you know, technology advances, everything is digitally enhanced. Everything is like, we were watching it, I think, in 1080.
Our boobs weren't digitally advanced.
Well, there goes the rating. That's going to be the opening of the show right there. Just that quote.
I'm just saying. Anyway,
roll credits.
Anyway, so she goes down and she's killed.
Don't look at me.
Do you want this?
Don't look at
do
me.
you want to take this over?
Don't look at me.
Okay.
Don't look at me.
So she takes it.
This is a lovely beach that we're on, right? Hey, Daniel.
Just stop, man.
Are we on a nudist? Are we on a nudist beach? I wonder.
Where's all the women?
But I'll tell you what there is. Two Peters.
So we open up on this woman getting eaten by a shark. Brody hears about a potential shark attack, and the mayor dismisses it as a boating accident, which in turn leads to another shark attack. His agenda took precedence over safety, which led to two shark attacks before he was eventually in so much shock that he couldn't function in the hospital.
First of all, who would open up their beaches like that?
Florida. So at this point, Chief Brody stops. He steps up and he charters the infamous Captain Quint and the Orca to hunt down this shark, and they commence their underway adventure, which my favorite part happens whenever they're underway and Captain Quint tells him to throw the chum out, and Chief Brody looks at him and is like, why can't Hooper throw the chum out? And he's like, Hooper's driving the boat. Throw the chum. And he's sitting there and he's just chunking the chum off the boat. And then there's that one shot where the shark comes up and he's so shocked that he physically can't talk.
Oh my God!
There's actually a lot of comedic timing in this movie that I never noticed about his fear of water.
Really? Do explain. What do you mean by that?
Well, like whenever he's walking around the boat, he actually like is holding on for dear life. You can see him white knuckling those rails, and then he comes around, and Captain Quint has the spear gun with him, and he's like, oh.
Yeah. What did you think about Quint's monologue?
So in that monologue, he references the USS in Indianapolis that I never actually realized, and he explained the entire sequence, and it kind of brought light to some of American history that I didn't realize the movie delved into.
Can I tell you about my favorite part of the whole movie?
Absolutely. I love to hear it. It's lovely.
So it is the Hitchcock pull zoom that they do on the beach right around the time of the second attack. And I think it was the, what was the kid's name? Alex. That was the kid's name.
Okay.
Yeah. That scene was supposed to be way more graphic.
That was pretty graphic.
Yeah.
I felt that I have kids, and I felt that.
Yeah, so they felt like it was too brutal. And keep in mind, in 75, that was gruesome.
Yeah, definitely.
So allegedly, there's like either footage or pictures of that scene floating around on the internet. Yeah, and it's like it has the boy on the raft just sitting in the mouth. But the bounty ended up being what?
3,000?
In equivalence of today's term.
That's roughly $20,000.
Not bad.
I mean, I would go kill a shark for $20,000.
Absolutely.
Maybe not that shark, because we're going to need a bigger boat.
Hey, you better plug in that line there, friend. You better do that. So, yeah, speaking about the boat, let's talk a little bit about the boat.
Okay. So, I am a fan of specific shots and being perfected in the different angles. There were a few shots in this underway sequence when the orca looked different. It was very clean, and it had like a wooden hull with the white orca on the back, the title on the back. But then later in the sequence, after the shark initially attacked, they actually changed the boats up, and it looked dirtier. It was the name Orca wasn't as vibrant as it used to be, which wouldn't happen in a day.
Now, yeah, there was some minor, I would say, major continuity errors, but you got to keep in mind that they were planning on sinking that boat for that production. So the dingy boat obviously didn't last. So the production actually used two different boats. And then the story goes, and Steven Spielberg told this story. It's online somewhere. Universal Studios Hollywood, their backlot had a replica of one of the orca boats. And so when Steven would drive around the backlot, he would actually sit on the boat and kind of just, reflect and go over some stuff. Well, one day Steven showed up to the backlot and was looking around on the backlot and was like, hey, where's the boat? And so he reached out to one of the people in charge over there, and they were like, yeah, it was rotting away. It had some termite issues, so we scrapped it. And Steven lost his mind. I would too, man. Like, that's the one piece of history that he could look back on and say, hey, this is still around.
I would hate to be the manager at that point that it had to explain to the legendary director Steven Spielberg why his prop wasn't in our park.
Do you think he used the iconic line, "You will never work in this town again"? Is that where that came from?
I would if I was a director.
I would totally pull that line, man. Like, you just don't mess with Spielberg like that, man. You just don't do it. So I kind of want to go into something. We're on this cool path of talking like behind the scenes stuff.
Okay.
I'm a huge fan of practical effects. Huge fan of it. And one of the things that I want to talk about is the actual shark. So did you know that the shark had a name?
Yeah, Bruce.
Good. Did you know where he got the name from?
No.
Okay. Bruce is actually the name of Steven Spielberg's lawyer. His lawyer was very aggressive. Asked the guy who told Spielberg that the boat was no longer on the back lot. Thank you. But anyway, through production, there were a total of 3 sharks that were used, and then a 4th shark was used, just kind of made from the original cast.
Okay.
So one highlighted one side of the shark, and it had the mechanical parts on the other side. same thing. And then they had one which was the top view of the shark.
Yeah.
So throughout productions, and I think the reason why this film did really well, the sharks never worked. You know, so if you pay attention to a lot of the shots that they used in the film, you never really saw the shark.
I will say, though, I really appreciated how they used actual footage of great whites attacking different things to employ in the movie, because if you weren't paying attention, you didn't even see the fact that it was a prop. You couldn't tell.
Even Steven himself thought that Universal was going to fire him because, like, everything that was supposed to work didn't work. You got to keep in mind, you were putting heavy machinery, a robot, in salt water. You know, the gears were like, screw this.
Yeah, definitely.
So
salt water is
actually one of the
crazy.
sharks ended up capsizing on like the first day of taping. They had to like pull it back onto shore, like literally tow that sucker back in. But no, it goes back to what I was saying though, is that the film did really well because it preyed on the fact that you couldn't, you fear things that you can't see. The fear of the unknown. That opening shot was so iconic because you knew something was pulling at her. You just didn't see it, you know? So, and you put yourself in that environment. You're alone in the water at dawn or night or whenever that happened.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a scary thing. It really is.
I still think about it. You know, whenever I go out swimming or anything, even in like controlled pools where I know there's not a shark, I'm getting out of the ladder and I'm be like, I'm going to get out that ladder a little bit faster just so that way the shark doesn't get me.
Pepping your step, man. Pepping your step. Because anytime you hear that music that...
It plays in my mind.
Oh, yeah. In the bathtub when you were a kid, you're just like, screw this.
Yeah.
I'm out of here. So, you know, I talked about the 3 different sharks. So, unfortunately, those sharks were destroyed, wear and tear. But the 4th shark, they ended up hanging at Universal Studios California. And then it ended up going to a junkyard. And it sat in the junkyard forever. And then finally somebody saw and was like, yo, that's from the original mold. Let's fix it up and put it in a museum somewhere because that belongs in a museum.
Yeah, definitely.
It really does. So it's actually going to be located at the Academy Museum of Motion Picture starting in December. And I'm planning on going out there because I'd love to be able to see like that 25-foot shark in real life. I think it'd be really cool.
Absolutely. I can definitely appreciate the fact that they thrust cinematography and movies into the next generation from his forward thinking. And it's so funny how that kind of stuff happens when you honestly think that it's failing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And speaking of generational thing, another Easter egg. I don't know if you realize this. So there's a scene where they're cutting open the tiger shark and a Louisiana license plate falls out.
Oh, yeah.
So for those who aren't aware, there's actually like this fraternity or alumni association of filmmakers out of California called A113. So they have their thing, but this kind of paved the way for all of the shark movies. So that same license plate is utilized in different shark movies. So not only do we see it in Jaws, which it first was in Jaws, we also see it in Deep Blue Sea. We also see that same license plate in Sharknado and even an animated film. There was an animated film that had it. So it's really, really cool to see how they Easter egg that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Jaws has really paved the way for modern films. If that film came out today, you know, would it still have that same oomph?
If it came out today, it wouldn't. With the technology that they had, they were ahead of their time. They were forward thinking. I mean, which is understated for the fact that Steven Spielberg is always ahead of the curve.
Yeah, but even though it was practical and half of it didn't work, it was still cool. There was still that mystery of it, you know?
Yes. So, with that being said, what would you rate Jaws?
Absolutely, man. I loved it ever since I was a kid. I would have to give this film an A++. It gets it gets the ultimate honor. If it came out today, I don't know. Like, I would equivalate that to something that you would see on sci-fi. So I wouldn't give it a high score. But being that it was like the forefather of shark movies, I had to give it an A++.
If we're rating in that time, I would definitely give it an A.
Okay.
Just like because of the technology that they had at that time. They weren't using green screens. They weren't using special effects. It was all just animatronic. And the issues that they had, it's funny because the issues that they had were still cheaper than what it cost for all of the special effects that happen today.
True, it really is. It really is. You know, it was great, man. So and it lives up to its expectation of being a blockbuster film.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So, do you think that it wins the most Cridiculous award?
Is an elephant heavy?
Yeah.
Well, there's your answer. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching episode 2 of Cridiculous. Hey, do us a favor. If you like this, do us a favor. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Share it with your grandma. Share it with your grandpa. Share it with your boss. Share it with somebody. Yeah?
Yeah. And we would like to thank all the service members. We appreciate your sacrifice and your service to your country.
If there's a film you want us to check out, comment below. Let us know. But whatever you do, we hope you have a great time. We're going to go ahead and jump in this water back over there. Yeah? Or are you looking for the skinny dipper from earlier?
I'm looking for that big ass shark out there.
Yeah. Hey, did you know that a shark had 2